This is a story of Alisha Bromfield, who was murdered by Brian Cooper. When it went to trial, Brian was pleading not guilty because he said he was too intoxicated to be held liable for what he did, which was he murdered her. She was 7 months pregnant. That was 2 counts of murder. What's scary is that Brian almost got away with this. The first trial that happened, 2 jurors said that they believed him and they thought that he wasn't lying. They thought that he was actually that drunk based on his word, not proof, but his word. This was 2 female jurors. I don't know why they point that out a lot in this video, but either way. So Alisha and Brian both worked at the Home Depot. Now, other people who worked at Home Depot did say that this is true, that Brian was Alisha's boss and he harassed her constantly. He forced her into outings. He forced her to, do things with him, go places with him, or he would threaten to fire her. She could not afford to lose her job. She was 7 months pregnant. She had bills to pay. So she reported him several times to Home Depot and they did nothing. So Brian confesses, the next day he goes to a convenience store, he calls 911, he confesses totally to what he did. But once he went to court, he pleads not guilty because he claims he was too drunk to be held accountable for his actions. Well, like I said, the first trial that happened, it was a hung jury. He almost got away with it. He almost got back out on the streets because of 2 jurors who believed him. Well, the DA wasn't having it. Alisha's mother, Sherry, was going to fight tooth and nail, and she wasn't going to have it either. Alisha's mother, Sherry, told the court, she was like, treat this as if it was your own child, please, because this man cannot go back on the street. He has a history of violence against women, and he did. There was another woman that he attacked previously. Now, he stalked and harassed Alisha Bromfield for a long time. Alisha Bromfield was forced into going to a wedding with him, his sister's wedding. And to keep her job, she went. While she was in the hotel room sleeping, Brian prepped and premeditated killing her because she didn't want to be with him. They had talked, and she kept telling him, as she had told him months prior, she did not want to be with him. Now, she was single. She wasn't with the baby's father. Doesn't matter, just a point. But she had told Brian many times she didn't want to be with him. Even at this point, he was like, she ain't going to be friends with me because he had harassed her so much. And there was witnesses. Now, I'm going to read this other article, but I heard Alisha's mom may be suing the Home Depot for not doing anything to protect her daughter. And that is totally fine with me because that's true. You didn't do anything to protect your employee. You allowed a boss to harass, stalk, and obsess over one of your employees. That is not okay. And now, if it wasn't reported, then they didn't know. But this was reported by Alisha and by other people many times. Let me stress that, many times, okay? Here is a portion of Brian talking about what he did to Alisha.
Cooper strangled Alisha Bromfield to death, squeezing the life out of her and her unborn baby girl.
Don't do this to me because think of the baby.
As if killing Alisha and her daughter wasn't monstrous enough, Cooper was about to share the actual depths of his depravity.
Did you have sex with her last night? Yeah, after I strangled her.
Cooper says he raped Alisha post-mortem.
So after she's dead, you took her clothes off, and then she's on the floor, right? Okay. I wanted to see her naked, I guess. Okay.
Now that proves, there was a bunch of people who were trying to say that they were having an affair or that they were seeing each other and this and that, but he just confirmed in his confession he had never seen her naked before that moment because he said, I just wanted to see her naked, I guess. That was him confessing that they had never had a romantic or sexual relationship before this moment of her death. So Alisha was telling the truth the whole time. Nobody helped her. Nobody protected her. That's a damn shame that you have to go to work and you have to worry all day long about a boss firing you, harassing you, sexually harassing you, forcing you into situations. And then even with that, She told, like I said, she told many people that he was doing this. Home Depot didn't do anything. And then he tells her, I want you to go to my sister's wedding. If you don't do it, you're fired. I'll get you fired. You're going to get fired, because he was her boss. She goes. She tells him, only as friends. I'm not going with you as together. When they get there, and then he sees she's not going to be with me. I don't believe that part. I think he planned to kill her before that wedding. I think, honestly, that's why he forced her into going to the wedding, is because he wanted to kill her. That's what I believe. Now, he can claim what he wants to claim. I think he did, and he premeditated it. Now, again, Brian tried to say that he was too drunk to know what he was doing when he killed her, but let me show you this. He talks about prepping the murder site,
Going through your mind when she was asleep.
The reality was setting in that there wasn't going to be even a fresh start when we got back, which was today.
And you didn't want that to happen.
I didn't know.
Okay.
I was debating what I was doing, and I was doing some prepping.
He admits he was doing some prepping. Now, remember, he's the one who called 911 from a convenience store, like the next day or whatever. He admits he was doing some prepping. He goes on through to keep talking about how he looked through cords because he thought about strangling her. Then he thought about this, and then he talks here about I was thinking maybe tying her up or whatever. Now, he had a past of doing that to another girl before. So we know this man is dangerous, very, very dangerous already.
I was thinking about maybe tying her up or whatever, but I didn't. So there was some cord like underneath the bed legs. It was like a cord from like a cell phone or something. I remember I got with a plug in it. Maybe it was from my computer. I don't remember what it was.
He remembers so much, though. He remembers so many details. I'm going to tell you right now, if you are too intoxicated to account for your actions, you're not going to remember black cords, white cords, laptops on the table. Your brain is going to be so fuzzy because you are so intoxicated. He remembers so many details, even down to what shows he was going to watch, even to where the laptop was placed. He remembers so much. I don't believe him for 1 second. I think that once he got into the interrogation room, he confessed. But I believe once he got into that jail cell and he realized where he was, that's when he started saying, wait a minute, I was too drunk. I didn't know what I was doing. Oh no, you can't hold me accountable for this. You got to let me go. I was too drunk. If that was the case, don't you know, thousands of people would use that excuse. I was too drunk to know what I was doing. Don't take me to jail. But see, here's the thing. They arrest drunk drivers every day for getting into a car and driving, right? What would make him any different? If you drink and drive, you get a DUI, driving under the influence. Okay? How can he use being too intoxicated to get away with murder? Well, you're fixing to hear something, because believe it or not, in the state that they live in, he almost got away with it. It almost worked. He almost pulled it off. Now, the first trial that they went through, they spoke, just to like they heard the main story. They didn't talk to anybody from the wedding. They didn't bring anyone from the wedding into the trial to testify in front of the jurors. So, believe this or not, now, this is a same man who took this pregnant woman who was 7 months pregnant. He strangles her. He murders her after preparing to do so. He rapes her corpse with her baby still in her. He goes to a store, calls in, tells them, what's going on. He gets here. He starts confessing. Then he goes to a jail cell. Then he claims he's not guilty because he was too drunk. Well, then it goes time to go to court during the trial. And listen.
Killer in court. Cooper would claim voluntary intoxication as his defense, saying he was too drunk to know what he was doing when he killed Alisha. At trial, Alisha's mom hears the 911 call and the interrogation of Cooper
was mind-boggling to me.
2 jurors actually believed Cooper, and They were hung jury. They believed him. So he almost got away with it. Luckily enough, Alicia's mother, Sherry, was able to tell the court, like, look, please fight for my daughter. Fight for this baby. Get this killer off the streets. So they had another trial. Well, this time they brought in people from the wedding, people who seen Cooper. Was he drinking? Was he not drinking? Can you tell us anything? And these people said, no, he was not drunk. He was not drunk. And then he got 2 life sentences, consecutive sentences, guilty, because he killed 2 people. Now, what is scary is the fact that he almost got away with it based on a being too drunk confession, or he was claimed he was too drunk. In some states, you can use that plea. Now, but here's the thing. Alicia's mother, Sherry, has had a law passed in 32 states now to where you can't do that. Because look, how is it you can be too drunk to not go to jail for murder, but you go to jail for drunk driving? What kind of sense does that make? Every state should have these laws. That is so ridiculous. So I can go to prison for drinking and driving, but I cannot go to prison or stay out of prison by killing somebody and being drunk. That don't make no damn sense at all. I'm so glad Alicia's mother fought for her and the baby. I'm so glad this courtroom fought for her and her baby. So glad the system finally did the right thing.